Hello, this is John Speelman with the video version of my latest column for Sunday, August the 6th. It's coming out a little late because I was in Egypt and I recorded it the first time without gloriously without the picture or without the, and that's not the one I want. That's a nice word, utkeari, is it, which means an Anglo-Saxon expression for the sorrow before dawn, when you wake up feeling upset. And that is not what I wanted. I actually wanted this one, which is for chess base August the 8th, column 199, which I've called Geometric Nightmares. So it's apropos, or it's courtesy of a game in the Major Open of the British Championship. The Major Open is the second tournament. There's the Championship itself, and the Major Open is a strong open tournament. And I think some very strong players have played in it. I have a feeling Alakai may have played in it, though I didn't check. Maybe he played in the challenges at Hastings. Anyway, more likely the Major Open, because maybe he wasn't allowed to play in the British, but he could play in the Major Open. Anyway, excuse me, there was this game, Brandon Clarke. Brandon Clarke was the favourite. For some reason he didn't play in the first two rounds. He had half-point buys, so I guess that's why he didn't play in the British. I don't know. And I haven't tried to find out from him. And he ended up first equal with three others, including Andrew Lewis. And on the way he had a game where something went very wrong very early on, and he lost his queen for two pieces. But he fought on, as you do. Excuse me. And he got to this position in the diagram. By the way, I know I'm quite dark in this, and the reason for that is it's dark outside, it's at night. I have increased the brightness of the screen, but I didn't want particularly to have a halo. So there we are. And eventually got to this position where queen e4 would still have been okay for white, but black would have played rook c4 and just carried on playing chess. And it would not have been, it would have been okay, definitely, for black. Excuse me. But white played h4, and the question is, what is the devastating move that then wins for black? And I think you can see this diagram okay, can't you? So some people see this immediately, it depends whether you've seen this trick before. If you haven't, it's not that easy to see, I think, to spot. And the answer is rook e1, which is a cross pin. There's a pin of the rook on e2 by the rook on c2 and the king, and also a pin of the rook on the queen on e8. And rook e2 is devastating. It wins at least queen for rook. White tried queen takes f7 check, followed by rook takes c2, but soon lost. So let's go to this database, which is column 199. And we'll start with this game. So here we are. I'm only going to do it quickly. I'm not very interested. d5 is probably not a great move, is it? Bishop h6 takes here. And the queen is in trouble. Queen c3, I guess you can probably go bishop b5 and then go bishop c1. He tried knight e5, bishop to there. Knight takes bishop. Presumably if queen takes knight, then bishop f5. So if queen takes knight, bishop f5 extricates the queen. So he had to take the queen. Obviously he should be winning at this stage. But on they went, they played some chess. Position's still clearly winning. I don't know, rook takes rook is not stupid to get rid of a pair of rooks, but then you play knight takes, and I suppose you do have quite a lot of boys on the board. He took this one, rook c1, I don't know if that's particularly intelligent. You just have to be careful here as white. With two pieces for the queen, if white didn't have the a-pawn, black would be okay here. As it is, this is still annoying, and he ended up playing bishop b6. Queen takes pawn, so now it's only two pieces and no pawns for a queen. Knight f5, there would have been queen f6. No, queen... Is knight f5 dangerous? Actually it is, isn't it? Is that right? There was a queen g5. Queen g5 stops knight g3 check. And that's actually crucial. But could you do queen g5 h6 maybe? I wonder. And if queen g4, then there's knight e3. So I wonder if he could have actually... Or can he just go queen f6, sorry. Knight f5, queen... No, because queen f6, there is knight g3 check. And rook h5 check. But if you do that, knight g3 check and rook h5 check, sorry, then rook takes queen, and it's rook and bishop against two rooks. So he didn't do that. He kept on hacking. Don't think rook f3 was a very good idea. Better to stay in the first rank. Queen a1 apparently is still good for white, but it's getting difficult. That's not very intelligent, probably. Knight to there, check, take. I would have thought if you're going to play this, you should have gone h4. Because then if you did this, you could play h5, and you'd already be threatening h6, which would be much better, a much better version. So if you're going to do this... so instead of h3... But maybe h4, knight g4 actually is a problem. Sorry, h4, there's check and knight g4 check. Please excuse me. So you can't go h4, so you go h3, and now you're a tempo short of doing anything very bad. Though I imagine you're still okay if you play good moves. You are, aren't you? With two rooks for the queen... Sorry, rook and bishop for the queen, you're now okay. Sorry, it is quite late at night, as I said as well. f5, rook to there. He went there. Bishop d4 is quite a clever move. Annoying. Check here. He took. Whether that's particularly intelligent, I don't know. Took. And that's where we reached the diagram, which he blundered with h4. Queen e4, rook c4 is still, it's fine for black, but I mean, you would play rook c4 because you want to keep all the rooks on if you can. And that should be... You're also threatening bishop g1 check, which is always nice. And that would be a reasonable position. But he went h4, and there was this horrible crosspin. He tried queen hits pawn with check. He's got absolutely nothing better. And now black won easily. And actually he allowed rook to h4 check. So that was that one. So we'll go Control R. That's the first one. Then we go to... So what happened was I liked this crosspin, so I thought let's do a column on crosspins. And I was thinking about how to search for them. Not easy because there aren't pieces in specific squares. I mean, if you look at a Greek gift sacrifice, say, then it starts bishop h7 check, and you can search for bishop h7, king g8, e5, pawn on e5, knight on f3 if you like. And that's going to work for most of them and give you lots of Greek gift sacrifices. If you want to, you can do just bishop h7, king g8, and probably put the pawns on g7 and f7. But of course, sometimes that means that there's a pawn on h6 and a queen on c2. It's never going to be entirely reliable, but it's, you know, it's easier than searching for crosspins. Anyway, so I searched for a few patterns I thought might be quite common. I searched for bishop c4, queen e4 against bishop d5, king g8. Obviously, there were many, many games in which there was a pawn on f7 as well, and so no pins at all. But, okay, I did that, and I also searched for some others. I searched for queen e4, bishop b3 against bishop d5, king g8 as well. Anyway, so I got some of these, and this is the first one of these. It's some random game from a Czech rapid play. And I think black is doing okay most of this game, but something... Well, he was actually doing okay in the final position, because what happened... f4 may not be a great idea. Now, if pawn takes pawn, then d6 wins material. which is a shame for... I wonder if you can go pawn takes pawn, d6, pawn takes pawn, king takes bishop h4, check, and queen d8. Possibly you can do something like that, but the pawn is rather dangerous on d6. That's not impossible, actually. But anyway, this happened. Now, I should have gone rook takes d4, but he went queen e4. And the guy resigned, which is a bit extraordinary, because it's not that hard to see the move queen takes c4, unpinning the bishop, and then bishop, queen takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, rook takes, and the game continues. I mean, white may win a pawn, but okay, it's still a game. So resigning was a bit dramatic. Got some more of these. Just go through quickly. Okay, they're playing some moves. This has really not gone very well for black. Got too many weaknesses. You really want to stop bishop c4, but b6 is loose, which is regrettable. I guess somewhere around about here it may still be playable, but it isn't now. He went queen b7, and of course queen takes e4. Yeah, I misspelled certainly, I can see. Okay, let's have another one. Sorry, F11. I'll just exit. Sorry, I can't see in this light properly. Another one of these. This is Paramagsudlu. It's in a blitz. It's in a bullet game, actually. But he saw the cross pin in a bullet game, which is impressive. As I said, the right people sometimes see things unbelievably quickly. This has really not gone very well for black. Well, yeah. That's incredibly upsetting, because you can't... I mean, I presume maybe there's just no way to defend b5 and c7. I guess that's true. Yeah, takes. Should have tried bishop d5, though after f3 it should certainly be winning, but he went there. Takes. Your man played bishop c4 and he resigned. Very nice. Another one. As I said, I'm not using f11 because I can't. This is also... Actually, this turned out, when I looked at it properly, not to be a cross pin. I mean, I just picked it up, and it involves the queen e4, bishop c4 thing. But there's only one pin. This is an interesting game. Don't know if d4 is a good move or not. That if you have to do it. And now rook takes, you can't go bishop c4 because of queen d1 mate. So this was this pin. So not a cross pin in this case. Can play bishop takes bishop because of course rook takes rook allows queen e2 mate, but you just play queen takes bishop with check. Obviously you keep the pin, check. I guess if g4 there'd be queen f7, but take, g4, queen to there. Takes. Now an excellent move, rook to there. I really like this move. To get to f3 to f4 with tempo. And he's managed to develop his rook. Very nice way to develop the rook. Most unusual. And the game soon ended. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know. I jumped a bit. I couldn't really be bothered to do it. Okay, and he gave up here. I mean, basically white just keeps everything together. And now black is going to have to allow the king to b6, and it's just not going to be worth trying to fight. Is that one? Another one. Is this another one with the same theme? Yet another one of these. Yeah, it's quite surprising that the bishop didn't get taken at any point, isn't it? But it didn't. This is Anna Maria Botsari, who's a Greek woman who was a junior around about when I was. I think she's a little bit younger than me. I don't know a lot if she's a lot younger, but she is Greek. And now to the nice game by her. Disaster on F7. Here. Check. And here black went King G8, which obviously runs into what we already know. King E8 is completely hopeless after E6. King E7 is slightly more. I mean, white's winning this. He's a pawn up with G7 on prise, and if King F8, E6 obviously wins easily. But I mean, okay. You could well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Queen E4, exclam 1-0. So as I said, I'm not using F11 because I can't see it. G4 is modern chess. We look and we see it's not actually Shakhriyar Mamadiarov, but Ivan Bukovshin, also decent grandmaster, against Ipatov. And G4 is obviously a move that I wouldn't even have thought of when I was at my peak. You just didn't do that really, but nowadays there are people who do G4 almost all the time. This game, he's managed to do this. That's an interesting move, isn't it? Push to there. I think King H8, Queen G4 is a total mess, which is engines assess as equal. Now Queen H1, very nice. Bishop takes bishop, of course, Queen takes queen. E4 wouldn't be great, so when Rook D8 takes, Knight E4 check. Queen takes, Queen takes, Queen H4. Bishop F3. I don't know if that's a good move. I think it's very good for white anyway, because basically you have a huge attack. And here, white bailed out with Rook C2 and black played perpetual check. Missing a forced if difficult win, so the win goes check, check. Have to take if King E6, Queen H3 check wins rather easily. Is that true? King E6, Queen checks, King F8. King F6, Bishop H4 check, King takes pawn, Rook G1 check. Yes. Okay. And this is going to be disastrous. White's going to get the bishop, I think, unless black's very careful. And it's completely winning. But what actually happened was this, and they agreed to draw. Probably in time trouble, I imagine. So I've got a few more. I think this, have we changed colours yet? Yes, we changed to a different diagonal. This is a dark square game. You know, I tend to think of games as either light or dark squared games. Yeah, not a good thing to allow Knight F6 check, really not a good thing. Rook E4 to go to H4 to do bad things, Queen D2. He took it, I'm sure he must be lost at this point, presumably. I don't know if he could try to play... On Knight E5 would come to much the same thing, actually, wouldn't it? Queen to there. Filthy trick. Cross pin. If you play E5, you don't play Knight E5. Bishop takes queen, double check, king to there, because there's no mate. Because H6 and E7 are both protected. I mean, you can do this and Rook E7. And I think you're winning, but I mean... Much better to go Rook takes E5, Bishop takes queen, check, Knight takes bishop, resigns. Check F6, Knight takes bishop, still resigns because of the pin. He went King G7. You can just play Rook F4 here, because Bishop takes bishop, Queen takes queen, Bishop takes Rook, Knight G5 is completely winning. There's no argument about that at all. But your man played Rook H4 first. Rook H8 makes it slightly worse. H5 you could play. Then Rook H5. you don't play rook h5. Oh, maybe you can actually, can you? Can you go bishop takes bishop, queen takes queen? You can go bishop takes bishop here, that's right. Queen takes queen. Now, am I fighting in this position or not? Maybe I'm still not fighting. Because bishop takes rook, rook h7 check, actually, is going to be completely winning. Yeah, it is, actually. But, I mean, okay, you can just go rook back to f4 if you want to. You went rook f4 now, e5, obviously bishop takes bishop, queen takes queen, even worse with the rook and f8. e5, rook takes bishop, exclam, resigns. Dart square domination, control R. I must have added something. Another one. I found this very interesting rapid play game on Megabase, and I've kept the annotations, which are for Tachnik and also this guy Bangiev as well. And basically, I'm just going to give the game very quickly. It's Lars Portish. It must have been, if it's Tilburg, it's when they had they went into matches. They went into 2-game matches. I think I lost to Veganyan once in that. The famous game Christiansen against Karpov was in Tilburg. That's a game where Karpov lost a piece on move 10 in the first game and resigned, but then won the match anyway after equalising as white. This is the game. Knight takes, pawn takes f5. And he played queen h6. This doesn't work at all because you take and you play king f7. And this is basically no good at all. But you can try pawn takes bishop, rook takes, bishop takes, rook to there, check, king to there, doubles. And now interestingly, not sure what you play actually. What do you play in this position? The problem you have is that when you go rook takes bishop, queen h4 says the engine. Queen h4, the point being that after rook e7 you can take and then you can't play pawn takes. I don't know if you go queen h4 g3 maybe. Looks like a bit of a mess. Anyway, if you take, check, take, then you've got 2 pawns for the queen, and because the queen is confined to barracks on e8, then it is drawing, I think. What happened though was this. Takes, check. Actually king e8, queen checks, king to there, or if e6, bishop g5 is winning for white, is slightly messy. He went king g8. Can you try if e6 here? Is that a move? If e6, presumably bishop g5 again. I suppose. e6, bishop f8 it says, sorry. And that defends, it does, doesn't it? Yes. So he went queen g4 check, king to there, check there, queen g5. And unfortunately this doesn't work because of bishop d4 check. And because it's check, you don't have time to play queen takes queen. So he took, went there. Queen a1 mate would have been a good move, but he went rook g7 first, e7, and then he saw queen a1 mate. So an interesting game that. Carry on. Now we then go on to a series of ones. I was thinking about this. I'd done the first 2 lots. Then I realised that the most common one of these with the cross pin is actually if you do it. I'm not really looking at this position. I don't know if you could have played bishop takes e5 here maybe, I don't know. Looks like it might be possible to me, but still. I don't know if h4 is particularly intelligent because it allows h5 and knight g4. I imagine rook g1 might be better first. But anyway, who knows? What happened was that they played these moves And f6 is probably not, I don't know. He just missed the tactic, I think. Take here. Obviously, if rook takes, rook d1 wins as well. And this is a very typical crosspin, happens quite often actually. I found a number of examples, some of them very trivial, which I didn't bother with. And, okay, so e4 was well done, keeping on fighting. This is Matilev against, see, Jakub Geller. I think he's Yefim Geller's son, isn't he? He's an IM, I believe. So this is winning, but slightly complicated. Well, I mean, there is this annoying h-pawn on the march, but it doesn't really quite work. He's managed to be annoying enough to force the knight away. And here king f5 was a bit of a mistake. King g5. I'm sure c7 wins. But after king f, king f5, there was knight d1, which is clever. And that made life even easier. And he resigned because if h3, knight takes knight, knight takes knight, pawn to the 7th, pawn to the 7th, pawn equals queen, and you are actually pawn equals queen, rook to there. So that just wins. So we got that. I've got a few more rook d1 against queen d5s. Here's some game. Don't know who they are. Grover, I think, is Indian, isn't he? I think Grover is Indian. Could be wrong. That's clever, isn't it? Obviously, you can't take the rook at the moment. And now he gets... If the knight goes back, then... Maybe the knight's almost trapped, isn't it? I could try to play knight c2 or something. Looks better, doesn't it? Oh, you're supposed to rook some prees as well on a8. Took this. Okay, what's 2 pawns up? This didn't help. Knight d5, you can go here, and rook d1, and you're certainly winning. And now rook d1. And he resigned. So that was that. Couple more. So these aren't very interesting. I'm going to get to the more interesting thing in a minute. What happened was, okay, this is quite interesting actually. This is quite a nice combination. G4 is an interesting move, isn't it? It's quite a macho move. Guy played f5, which is a blunder. Apparently knight b4 is equal. And this allows a nice combination, yes. Knight to there. Rook takes, takes, takes. Queen c4. Rook to there, takes, takes, rook to there. Very nice combination, actually, I think. And he won. Okay, not interesting anymore. That was that. And there's one more, which is this. This is some game from the Politican Cup. And white is rated a lot more than black, I think. Because black doesn't seem to have a rating according to this. So it's probably the first round. It is in the first round, yeah, they play. So he played knight c6. Actually, knight e6 is the better way to play. Because this is more or less totally winning. B takes c6 was played. Should go queen d3. If you go queen d3, rook take, knight e7 check. Sorry, here take. Then actually this isn't too bad, because you've got bishop f8 coming, you've got rook d8 coming, and you've set up knight d5, rook d8, because now knight c7 isn't on the cards. And actually this is okay for black, apparently. It's certainly close to being okay, and I can believe it's okay. But queen to there, he went pawn takes, question mark. Queen to there, winning the queen. And then carried on playing for no discernible reason. And black resigned. Right. So I did all of these, and then I thought there are lots of studies, excuse me, but I thought I would try and Cough. I thought I would try to make a study. So I had an idea, and eventually I got to this position. I'm going to set it into replay training. I hope you like it. It's white to play and win. And it is sound, I think. I'm not very satisfied with this. So when you make a study, you have an idea in mind, and you try to build up at least some sort of introduction so that it makes sense. And, well, this is what I came up with. The rook on b7 is there to block the bishop's diagonal. So you start pawn equals queen, you take, rook to the 7th. There are two lines. There's bishop b7 and knight b7. I'll do the main line first, which is knight b7. Still no way to stop mate except for rook takes knight. Queen takes rook is the best defence. Now you can play queen takes queen actually. Queen a1 is the main move. Queen takes. You're threatening to go h6 now and leave white with the wrong rook's pawn. So you can try king g4. I mean, if bishop c4, h6 here, takes, bishop to there. King f4, bishop c2. You haven't got time for king e5, and after pawn to there, king to there. Black is able to block the white king's progress, so it's a draw. So you have to try king g4, bishop d5. So now bishop c4, you can just take and draw. You get your king out in time, so you go b4. And this is a little bit unpleasant for black actually, but it turns out that after h5 you haven't got much else to do really. Pawn takes pawn, take, here, here's just a draw basically. The pawn's strong enough, and if you can go here as well, here, bishop to there, and now you must stop bishop b8, but either move. King f8 or king f7 are both draws. Nothing's happening really here. So that would have been okay. So luckily queen takes queen isn't a cook. So you go queen a1 check, king to there. If you go to f8, you go check and queen takes pawn, and queen takes queen, and you're winning easily. It's important. And once you go there, you're completely winning. Nothing to be done at all. You just bring the king over. You get the king to e5. Could we have done king f8 maybe? Or queen takes queen and bishop d3, then there is bishop to d5 to f7, but I assume that's winning anyway. That might be a little bit harder work. Maybe, but I mean it should be winning, of course. So here, take. Check, the main line goes king to there, check here, and now a move we've seen before, though not in this exact position, queen h1, with the pretty cross pin. So if we go back to the starting position, then everything's moved apart from the white king and some pawns. I don't like the rook on b7. I did a second version, which was like this, starting here. And that was my original version. In fact, I started with the queen somewhere on the a file without the white rook and without the knight, I think. But then after a while I got... by the way, I should say that you can go bishop b7, rook takes, queen takes as well. I'll just go back to this one for a minute because that's probably got better analysis. Let's go up here. If bishop b7 takes, queen takes is best. And actually queen f6 is best. because now you... Well, that's hopeless. So let's at least go king d7 and promote that. Promote variation. Controller. Sorry, is that... Oh, no. Sorry. How irritating. Have to re-put my name in S-P-E-E-L because I touched the wrong button. Here we are. So king d7, check here, check here, check here, check here, and now we can just take. And we have bishop e8 with tempo, and that wins very easily. Okay, going back here, I had the other idea I had. I wanted to have the pawn on the 7th, and to go pawn equals queen, king to g7. Or I thought, well, obviously you can play bishop takes queen. Maybe you can have a knight in g7 to fork the king and the queen. But if the knight's in c5, it doesn't fork the king and the queen. And if you move the knight, then there'll be knight e6 check anyway, without pawn equals queen. And it just didn't work. Also, with the knight in d6, you won't have bishop c4 check. So the whole business with queen a1 check, there won't be a bishop c4 check. I did think of trying to do this as well. Put this here, put this here, and somehow have a knight, king there, a knight to there, and then I have to put this pawn here. And okay, if pawn equals queen, king takes knight. Well, first, I think queen takes bishop, knight f5 check, king g4, h5 check is a draw, actually. But you can go pawn equals queen, king takes knight, rook a7, knight f5, mate. So that really doesn't help. And also you've got the problem that you don't have bishop c4 check, so I couldn't make that work. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And I will be back in a fortnight with column 200. And I'm going to stop now. And I hope that I'm not too dark in this, but we shall see.